So you're telling me my footage could look better? Like, actually stable? What about at night? And all of that from you? Well, all right then. What's going on, everyone? It's Rowan here, back with another video. I've been using the DJI Osmo Mobile 8 over the past couple of months, and initially I didn't think that I'd need it. I've never been one for gimbals, and anytime I need to grab a shot, it's either handheld or on a tripod, and I call it a day. But the more I've gotten to use this, the more I've realized that in the right situations, it can make a big difference. The unboxing experience is really simple. Inside, you get the gimbal itself wrapped in a microfiber bag, which is actually a really nice touch, especially if you're throwing it into something like a backpack. Then the other box contains a pair of USB-C cables, one of which is a shorter one that allows you to charge your phone through the gimbal. Build quality wise, it's mainly made of plastic, and the plastic itself doesn't feel cheap at all, and actually is a really good choice for a material, which contributes to how lightweight it is at just 370 grams. Plus, the handle comes rubberized, which provides a good amount of grip so it's not going to slip while you're moving around. On the bottom, you've got a deployable tripod that makes it easy to stand the gimbal up, and I do appreciate that they did integrate it into the handle. Plus, there's a 1/4-20 mounting point on the bottom for other accessories. Now, moving on to the controls, there's a lot going on here, but it's actually pretty intuitive. Up front, you have a joystick with a textured grip that makes it easy to make small fine-tune adjustments. Next to that is the camera switch button that allows you to toggle between the front and rear-facing cameras. Double press it, and you can switch between horizontal and vertical orientations, which is perfect for something like TikTok or Reels. Then the M button that cycles through the different stabilization modes and doubles as a power button. On the side, you've got USB-C for charging and a dial that allows you to adjust things like zoom depending on how you have it set up. And then on the back, we have the trigger. So a single press will enter the tracking mode. 2 presses recenters the gimbal. 3 presses turns the entire gimbal around. And then if you press and hold, it'll enter sport mode, which allows the gimbal to react to faster movements. The only thing I'd probably change is to add some sort of ratcheting to the dial itself, similar to what you might find on a mouse. As it is, it's really sensitive, so it's really easy to overshoot, but adding some tactile feedback to the dial can make it really easy to make small fine-tune adjustments. Now, setup is really easy. Attach your phone to the clamp, then the clamp magnetically attaches to the gimbal head, you unfold it, and then you're ready to go. The clamp itself feels solid, and it's lined with rubber so it doesn't scratch your phone or feel like it's going to slip out. As for the pairing process, normally you'd go through DJI's Mimo app, but this actually supports Apple's dock kit. So all I have to do is take my iPhone, tap it to the gimbal, and a few seconds later, it's ready to go. That being said, if you want to access some of the more advanced features, you will still need that Mimo app, but from a perspective of shooting right away, this is the quickest way to get set up. Now, out of the box, it does come calibrated, and I was able to shoot right away without making any tweaks. But if you do notice that it's drifting or it's off balance, again, you can go through the Mimo app and calibrate that. Of course, the point of a gimbal is to offer stabilization, and I tested this in 2 ways. One are those tighter indoor shots, and the second are the wider outdoor movements. And outdoor, it did really well. In situations where I was doing like a follow shot, things felt smooth and controlled, and the footage looked way more stable overall. And orbit shots were also really easy to pull off. The motors are powerful enough to keep things steady, and the results looked way better than anything that I could pull off handheld. Now, one of the features that ended up being unexpectedly useful was the built-in extension rod. It's surprisingly sturdy, and the extra bit of reach definitely helps with framing. Like walking and talking shots felt more relaxed, and I appreciated the extra breathing room. Plus, grabbing high or low shots were way easier, and honestly saved my back from having to bend down. Indoors though, I noticed a couple of issues. So for one, when I was tilting, I guess, the angle of how much I could tilt wasn't as much as I would like, but of course a simple reposition can fix that. And then the second, I noticed some micro jitters, especially when I was doing orbit shots. Now, the footage overall looks pretty smooth, and to be honest, my hands aren't the steadiest, but I did notice it when I was editing the footage in post. That said, with a bit of practice, I was able to iron out the micro jitters, and I found that taking a step back allowed for my orbit shots to be a lot smoother. Now, if you still encounter issues, I'd encourage you to use some stabilization in post to iron out any remaining issues. Now, one of the coolest features of the Mobile 8 is this multifunctional module. So on the bottom of the phone clamp, you'll find these gold contacts, so the module can snap on magnetically. Now, one thing about the mount, if you do opt for DJI's MagSafe mount, it doesn't come with the same gold contacts, so there's no multifunctional module support, which is something to keep in mind. Now, initially, I didn't think that this would be super useful, but it's become a permanent fixture on my gimbal. First is the light. It's not insanely powerful, but in a pinch, it can be super helpful. Like in the studio, if it's dimly lit, this is bright enough that it can add good separation so my footage doesn't look flat. And the light's brightness is adjustable, which makes it super helpful for nighttime shots. But probably the part that I use the most is the tracking feature. Instead of relying on the phone's own cameras, it comes with its own tracking system. I found it particularly useful for things like fast-moving shots or even orbit shots, where I could keep the subject in the middle and in focus, and sort of have the camera system assist me as I moved around. It also can recognize hand gestures, which I didn't use a whole ton of, but actually came handy a couple of times when I wanted to start recording on the gimbal remotely. And as a bonus, if you own a pair of DJI mics, you can hook them up to the module directly, which makes the pairing and recording process a lot smoother. And that finally brings me to the app experience. The Mimo app is how you primarily connect the DJI mics and gimbal systems. The interface for the gimbal itself is the built-in camera app where you have access to a bunch of features. On the left side, you have manual control for ISO, shutter speed, and exposure, which generally I left to auto. Below that, you can select your frame rate and resolution, which is largely based on your device, but I had mine in 4K 60. Then you have the glamorous button that adds certain beauty adjustments to your footage. And then below that, you have your additional settings, including video settings, module settings, and your gimbal motor parameters and calibration. On the right side, you'll find a button to switch between the front and rear-facing cameras, and then below the record button is where you'll find the ability to turn on the tracking and smart gesture features. This is where DJI's ActiveTrack really shines, and I found it did a really good job of holding my subject in frame without constantly drifting or hunting. Again, the app is really packed in here, and I do appreciate the fact that it's simple enough for beginners to get started, but then offers those pro-level features that more advanced users expect. And all of this wrapped in a really intuitive interface. If I did have to nitpick about something, it's the fact that there's no controller or virtual joystick support. Now, it's not something that I'd expect in a mobile gimbal, but we have seen this with DJI's own Ronin series. Basically, I can use a set of on-screen controls or a physical controller to change the position of the gimbal. In all fairness though, DJI did include a workaround, but you'll need an Apple Watch for that. So you can see here, when I launch the Mimo app on my watch, I can see a preview of what the camera sees, I can adjust the tracking and the position, and I can even take a photo or trigger a recording. However, I will say that I did encounter some issues where it will lag or even drop connection, so something like a controller would provide a much more consistent experience. Maybe through some sort of firmware update, they'll add controller support sometime in the future, but overall, the Osmo Mobile 8 is a really great package. Whether you're looking at the hardware or the software, DJI has put together something that feels balanced, well thought out, and covers a wide range of use cases for most people. And I say most people because that's who it's meant for. It takes the casual shooter and the phone they already own and gives them a greater amount of flexibility to what they're capturing. And all of this while remaining compact and lightweight. Sure, there are some missed opportunities, but those are more leaning towards pro-level behaviors rather than something that the everyday user is going to worry about. And after 8 iterations, I think DJI understands what really matters here. Leave me a comment down below if you plan to pick this up and what your shooting style is like these days. Do you shoot photo, video, or maybe a bit of both? If you enjoyed this video, give it a like and hit that subscribe button for more content like this. As always, thanks for watching, and we'll catch you in the next one.